Are you still paying for something you haven't used in months? A gym membership, a streaming service, a course you bought during a moment of ambition and never finished. You know you should cancel it. You've had the thought at least a dozen times, but every time you pick up your phone to do it, something stops you. It's not laziness. It's not forgetfulness. It's a psychological trap called the sunk cost fallacy. And here's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't just keep you subscribed to things you don't use. It keeps you in bad investments, in degrees you regret, in relationships with things you bought, cars, houses, business ideas that stopped serving you years ago. And the worst part? You think you're being rational. You think you're making a financial decision, but you're not. Your brain is running a program that was useful for cavemen and financially disastrous for you. Today, we're going to break that program, and I mean every single piece of it. Let's start with a clean definition. A sunk cost is money you've already spent and cannot recover. Not might not recover, cannot recover. It's gone. The transaction is over. The money belongs to someone else now. A fallacy is a flaw in reasoning, a logical error, something that feels true but isn't. So the sunk cost fallacy, put together, is the mistake of letting money you've already spent influence decisions about what you do next. The rational way to make a decision is to ignore the past entirely. The only question that should matter is, going forward, what's the best use of my time and money? But your brain hates that question. Because your brain treats money you've already spent as if it's still yours, as if walking away from something means admitting the money was wasted. And your brain would rather waste more money, new money, future money, than admit the old money is gone. This is what economists call throwing good money after bad. And humans are the only species that does it. A squirrel doesn't keep digging in the same spot because it already spent an hour there. A bird doesn't finish building a nest in a tree that's about to fall. Only humans double down on mistakes because they're emotionally attached to the time and money they already lost. So why does this happen? Why can't your brain just do the math? There are three psychological forces at work here. Force 1. Loss aversion. Yes, this again. Remember from our first video? The pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. When you cancel a subscription you've been paying for but not using, your brain doesn't process that as saving $50 a month going forward. It processes it as admitting you lost $300. And your brain will do almost anything to avoid feeling that loss. The pain of the loss is literally twice as strong as the pleasure of the gain. So you do nothing, and the charges keep coming. Force 2. The commitment and consistency bias. Psychologist Robert Cialdini identified this. Once we've made a choice, any choice, we feel an internal pressure to behave consistently with that commitment. You chose to sign up for the gym. You chose to buy the course. You chose to invest in that stock. Walking away now feels inconsistent. It feels like admitting you made a bad choice, and your ego doesn't want to do that. Force 3. The endowment effect. This is the most insidious one. We overvalue things simply because we own them. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler proved this. In his experiments, people who were given a coffee mug demanded roughly twice as much money to sell it as people who didn't own the mug were willing to pay for it. The mug didn't change. Ownership changed the perception. And that's exactly what happens with your money. Once you've put money into something, a stock, a business idea, a car, your brain assigns it extra value. Not because it's actually worth more, but because it's yours. The $500 you already spent feels worth more than the $500 you haven't spent yet, even though they're exactly the same. This isn't just theory. This shows up in your life every single week. Let me show you the 4 traps. Trap 1. The subscription graveyard. You signed up for a free trial, forgot to cancel. 3 months later, you notice it on your credit card statement. But instead of canceling immediately, you think, well, I've already paid for it this month. I should use it a few times to get my money's worth. The average American spends over $200 a month on subscriptions they don't use. That's $2,400 a year. Over a lifetime, that's enough for a down payment on a house, and the sunk cost fallacy is what keeps every single one of those subscriptions alive. Trap 2. The bad investment. You bought a stock at $50. It's now at $30. You should sell and put the remaining money somewhere better. But you don't. Because selling at 30 means locking in a loss. So you hold. It drops to 15. You hold. It drops to 8. Every professional investor knows the rule. Cut your losses early. Amateurs hold losers and sell winners. The exact opposite of what works. And the sunk cost fallacy is why. Trap 3. The degree you hate. You're 2 years into a 4-year program. You've spent $40,000. You realize you don't want to work in this field. But you can't bring yourself to switch, because that would mean wasting the $40,000. But here's the cold math. The $40,000 is gone whether you finish the degree or not. If switching paths means a happier life and a better career, the real waste isn't the $40,000. It's the next 40 years spent doing something you hate. Trap 4. The relationship with stuff. You bought an expensive jacket. You've worn it once. It doesn't fit quite right. But you can't bring yourself to donate it, because it cost $300. You bought a gaming console. You don't play it anymore, but selling it feels like admitting you made a mistake. The stuff isn't holding you hostage. The price tags are. And here's the part nobody talks about. The sunk cost fallacy isn't really about money. It's about identity. If you cancel the gym membership, you have to admit, I am not a person who goes to the gym. If you sell the bad investment, you have to admit, I made a dumb financial decision. If you switch degrees, you have to admit, I was wrong about what I wanted. And here's the breakthrough. Being wrong about something doesn't make you a failure. It makes you someone who is learning faster than everyone else. The most successful investors, entrepreneurs, and decision makers in the world share one trait. They cut losses fast. They don't attach their identity to their past choices. They treat sunk costs as tuition, the price of learning what doesn't work. The difference between the person who stays stuck and the person who moves on isn't intelligence. It's not willpower. It's the ability to say 3 words, that money's gone. So how do you actually fix this? 4 strategies, each one designed to bypass the emotional brain and activate the rational one. Strategy 1. The zero-based question. Before any financial decision involving something you already own, ask yourself, if I didn't own this today, if I had $0 invested, would I buy it again at its current price? If the answer is no, sell it, cancel it, walk away. The past is irrelevant. Strategy 2. The opportunity cost reset. Every dollar stuck in a losing position is a dollar that could be growing somewhere else. A bad investment you're holding at $30 isn't just down $20. It's also missing out on whatever that $30 could be earning in a better investment. The real loss isn't just what you already lost. It's what you're not earning. Strategy 3. The 24-hour rule. The sunk cost fallacy hits hardest in the moment. When you're staring at a losing position or an unused subscription, your emotions are running the show. So buy yourself time. Tell yourself, I'm not going to decide right now. I'm going to wait 24 hours. Come back when the emotional charge has faded. You'll almost always make a better decision. Strategy 4. The pre-commitment rule. Make the decision before the emotion shows up. Before you invest a single dollar, write down, if this drops below X, I sell. No questions, no debate. Before you start a course, decide, if after 1 semester I'm not excited about this field, I switch. The pre-commitment takes your future self off the hook, because the decision was already made by a rational version of you. Here's what we covered. The sunk cost fallacy is when past spending controls future decisions. Your brain runs this program because of loss aversion, commitment bias, and the endowment effect. 3 psychological forces designed to protect your ego, not your wallet. It traps you in subscriptions you don't use, investments that are dying, degrees you hate, and attachment to stuff that no longer serves you. The root isn't money, it's identity. And the fix is 4 strategies. Ask the zero-based question. Reset your opportunity cost. Wait 24 hours. and pre-commit before emotions take over. Here's your challenge. Find one sunk cost in your life this week. One subscription, one investment, one thing you're holding on to because of what you paid. And cancel it, sell it, walk away. Just one. Next week, we're taking on the psychology of overspending, why you buy things you don't need with money you don't have, and what your brain is really chasing when you click Add to Cart. It's not math, it's your brain. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And tell me in the comments, what's your biggest sunk cost? I want to hear what you're still holding on to. Know someone stuck in a bad investment, a dead-end degree, or a subscription graveyard? Send them this video. See you next week. New episode every week.